You were late.
Friday, May 6th advance. We're going to get into the Princess Bride Charger Challenge next Thursday. Dance show today, but if you're watching this at home, that doesn't know me whatsoever. The tie game was political stuff or Three Stooges, because it's pretty much the same thing. You still don't get... Oh, the reason I'm not letting you keep your book yet is we're going to do one more day of us reading together on Monday, and that's because your big rough draft comes due on Tuesday. I don't want you reading right now. I want you finishing the big rough draft. If you're working with a partner, that's probably given to be easier. If you're not working with a partner, then that's probably not going to be as easy. So I want you doing that instead, because starting Monday night, you are going to have reading homework, and a lot of reading homework. So my goal for you right now is working on book report, because it comes due the whole biggity-bangity in like a week. Because a week from Tuesday, the whole thing comes due. So Tuesday, the whole rough draft comes due. And then a week from that, the whole thing comes due. So for now, work on book report. Then I'll let you take the book home and read. Bailey.
Is it like extra credit if we turn the whole thing in on this Tuesday?
It'd be next Friday.
Okay.
And then yes. And so as long as you turn it in by next, because you can't turn it in Tuesday, because I'm going to be writing on it, because I need just a rough draft. But then if you turn it in by Friday, that gets you the extra points. That is an affirmative. Covert.
Would it have to be you and your partner turning it on Friday for
Yes. If you have a partner, it's got to be you and the partner working together. Teamwork.
Ooh.
Yes.
Does the partner need to turn in one and then you need to turn in
No.
one?
Rough drafts wise, yes, because you each have to have your own. Final copy wise, no. Just one final pretty copy.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, dear.
me?
Yes, dear.
Sorry.
Put it on my desk, dear. I'm glad you found that mysterious notebook.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was buried at
Way to hide it from
What
yourself.
page
When
are
I
you
got
on?
how come she doesn't have to sit over there?
Because she was finishing and I got distracted. Put it over there on my desk.
Page
Page 12. We're at the top.
You're
Where?
That's
12.
Pages.
Is it at Do You Know?
I just stood there. By the way, now that because what we're going to get a little bit, now we're done so much of the flashback, we're going to just flash a little. And so he's going to go into more about why he really likes the Princess Bride and how it sort of changed him. And we've done the whole hated reading, and now he's going into the I love reading. By the way, this part we're going through where he's talking about all these authors he's reading, those were all classic books, by the way. So he's like, The Deer Slayer, and D'Artagnan, and Sir Walter Scott, and Stevenson. Those were all from the books you guys had to choose from. So he's going through classic books by choice. I know, that's what the Princess Bride does to you. It breaks you and makes you enjoy reading big books. Just give up now.
I hate big books.
I just stood there and waited for Miss Roginski to tell me to read somebody. You're impossible standing there waiting, she thought a second. All right, try Hugo, the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Hugo, Hunchback, thank you. And I turned, ready to begin my sprint to the library. I heard her words sighed behind me as I moved. This can't last. It just can't last. But it did. And it has. I'm as devoted to adventure now as then. And that's never going to stop. That first book of mine I mentioned, The Temple of Gold, do you know where the title comes from? From the movie Gunga Din, which I've seen 16 times, and I still think is the greatest adventure movie ever made. Okay, true story about Gunga Din. When I got discharged from the Army, I made a vow never to go back on an Army base. No big deal, just a simple lifelong vow. Okay, now I'm home the day after I get out, and I've got a buddy at Fort Sheridan nearby, and I call to check in, and he says, hey, guess what's showing on post tonight? I mean, the movie theater on base. Gunga Din. Let's go, I said. It's tricky. You're a civilian. Upshot, I got back into uniform the first night I was out and snuck on to an Army base to see the movie. Snuck back. Thief in the night. Heart pounding. The sweats. Everything. By the way, the reason he had to go back to see the movie is back then, before we had DVD and Netflix streaming, if you wanted to see a movie, it was only in movie theaters. And so if you saw your favorite movie was playing somewhere, then you went to that movie theater to go see it. If not, then you had to wait years before you could see your favorite movie again. That's why he does. I know. Netflix. I'm addicted to action, adventure, call it what you will, in any way, shape, etc. I never missed an Alan Ladd picture, an Errol Flynn picture. I still don't miss John Wayne pictures. My whole life really began with my father reading me the Morgenstern when I was 10. Fact, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid is, no question, the most popular thing I've ever been connected with. When I die, if the Times gives me an obit, it's going to be because of Butch. Okay, now what's the scene everybody talks about? The single moment that stays fresh for you and me and the masses? Answer, the jump off the cliff. Well, when I wrote that, I remember thinking that those cliffs they were jumping off, those were the cliffs of insanity that everybody tries to climb in The Princess Bride. In my mind, when I wrote Butch, I was thinking back further into my mind, remembering my father reading the rope climb up the cliffs of insanity and the death that was lurking right behind. That book was the single best thing that happened to me. Sorry about that, Helen. Helen's my wife, this hotshot child psychiatrist. And long before I was even married, I knew I was going to share it with my son. I knew I was going to have a son, too. So when Jason was born, now, if he'd been a girl, he would have been Pamby. Can you believe that? A woman child psychiatrist who would give her kids such names. Anyway, when Jason was born, I made a mental note to buy him a copy of The Princess Bride for his 10th birthday. After which, I promptly forgot all about it. Flash forward inside of our flashback. It makes complete sense. The Beverly Hills Hotel, last December. I'm going mad having meetings on Ira Levin's The Stepford Wives, which I'm adapting for the silver screen. I call my wife in New York at dinner time, which I always do. It makes her feel wanted. And we're talking. At the close of it, she says, "Oh, we're giving Jason a 10-speed bike. I bought it today. I thought that was fitting, don't you?" Why is it fitting? Oh, come on, Willie. 10 years, 10 speeds. Is he 10 tomorrow? It went clean out of my head. Call us at supper time tomorrow and you can wish him a happy. Helen, listen, do me something. Buzz the 999 bookshop and have them send over The Princess Bride. Let me get a pencil. And she's gone a while. Okay, shoot. The what bride? Princess by S. Morgenstern. It's a kid's classic. Tell him I'll quiz him on it when I'm back next week. And he doesn't have to like it or anything. But if he doesn't, tell him I'll kill myself. Give him that message exactly. Please. I don't want to apply any extra pressure or anything. Kiss me, my fool. Mwah! No starlets now. This was always her sign-off line when I was alone and on the loose in sunny California. They're extinct, dummy. That was mine. We hung up. Do you guys know what a starlet is?
No. Is it a bird?
Sounds like a character.
Close. Yeah, a starlet is a famous movie star, usually, well, actually, always a girl, who's like on the covers of magazines and photo shoots and stuff like that, the pretty ones that dance around. And so because he's married and out there in California by himself, and in the movie business, she's like, "Oh, don't be flirting with starlets." And he's like, "They don't exist." Because, you know, married people flirting is adorable.
Wait, why'd you say it was close to a bird?
Because there's a type of bird that's starling. It's close. And you said
No,
starling.
Starling is a team from last year.
That's right also. Right. Now the next afternoon, so it happened, from somewhere, there actually appeared a living, suntanned, breathing deeply starlet. I'm lolling by the pool. She moves by in a bikini, and she's gorgeous. I'm free for the afternoon. I don't know a soul, so I start playing a game about how can I approach this girl so she won't laugh out loud. I never do anything, but ogling is great exercise, and I'm a major league girl watcher. I can't come up with any approach that even connects with reality, so I just start to swim my laps. I always swim a quarter mile a day, because I have a bad disc at the base of my spine. Up and back, 18 laps. When I'm done, I'm hanging on in the deep end, panting away, and over swims the starlet. She hangs on the ledge in the deep end, too, maybe all of 6 inches away, hair all wet and glistening, and the body's underwater, but you know it's there. And she says, "Okay, this happened now. Pardon me, but aren't you the William Goldman who wrote Boys and Girls Together? That's like my favorite book in all the world." I clutch the ledge and nod. I don't remember what I said exactly. Okay, that's a lie. I remember exactly what I said, except it's too goon-like to put it down. Ye gods, I'm 40 years old. "Goldman, yes, Goldman, I'm Goldman." It came out like all in one word. There's no telling what language she thought I was responding in. "I'm Sandy Sterling." "Hi." "Hi, Sandy Sterling," I got out, which was pretty suave. Suave for me, anyway. I'd say it again if the same situation came up. Then my name was paged. The Zanooks won't leave me alone. The Zanooks were these famous directing brothers. I say, she breaks out laughing, and I hurry to the phone thinking, was it really all that clever? And by the time I get there, I decide, yeah, it was. And into the receiver, I say that. Clever, not hello, not Bill Goldman. Clever is what I say. Did you say clever, Willie? It's Helen. I'm in a story conference, Helen, and we're speaking tonight at supper time. Why are you calling at lunch for? Hostile. Is he in a story conference?
No.
So what's he doing?
Lying.
Lying. Why is he lying to his wife?
Because he was a starlet.
Right. And so what's he doing with the starlet?
Nothing.
Flirty. We're doing a little flirty right now. And so when you do flirty and you're married, what is he starting to feel?
Guilty.
And so we're going to start seeing the guilt start to play, and that's why then, of course, being even more of an idiot, he answers the phone with clever, because he's thinking of himself as clever. He's not so clever anymore. Hostile. Never argue with your wife about hostility when she's a certified Freudian, means psychiatrist. It's just, they're driving me crazy with stupid notions in this story conference. What's up? Nothing, probably, except the Morgenstern's out of print. I've checked with Doubledays, too. You sounded kind of like it might be important, so I'm just letting you know Jason will have to be satisfied with this very fitting 10-speed machine. Not important, I said. Sandy Sterling was smiling from the deep end, straight at me. Thanks, though. Anyway, I was about to hang up, and I said, well, as long as you've gone this far, call Argosy on 59th Street. They specialize in out-of-print stuff. Argosy, 59th. Got it. Talk to you at supper. She hung up. Without saying no starlets now. Every call, she ends with that. And now she doesn't? Could I have given it away by something in my tone? Helen's very spooky about that, being a shrink and all. Guilt, like pudding, began bubbling on the back burner. I went back to my lounge chair, alone. Sandy Sterling swam a few laps. I picked up my New York Times, a certain amount of sexual tension in the vicinity. Done swimming? She asked. I put my paper down. She was by the edge of the pool now, nearest my chair. I nod, staring at her. Which Zanuck, Dick or Daryl? It was my wife, I said, emphasis on the last word. Didn't faze her. She got out and lay down in the next chair. Top heavy, but golden. If you liked them that way, you had to like Sandy Sterling, and I like them that way. You're out here on the 11, aren't you? Stepford Wives? I'm doing the screenplay. I really love that book. That's like my favorite book in all the world. I'd really love to be in a picture like that. Written by you. I'd do anything for a shot at that. So there it was. She's putting it right out there. On the line. Naturally, I set her straight fast. Listen, I don't do things like that. If I did, I would, because you're gorgeous. That goes without saying, and I wish you joy. But life's too complicated without that kind of thing going on. That's what I thought I was going to say. Then I figured, hey, wait a minute. What law is there that says you have to be the token Puritan in the movie business? I've worked with people who keep card files on this kind of thing. It's true. You can ask Joyce Haber. Have you acted a lot in features? I heard myself asking. Now, you know I was really passionate to know the answer to that one. Nothing that really enlarged my boundaries. You know what I mean? Mr. Goldman? I looked up. It was the assistant lifeguard. For you again. He handed me the phone. Willie? Just the sound of my wife's voice sent sheer blind misgivings through each and every bit of me. Yes, Helen? You sound funny. What is it, Helen? Nothing. But it can't be nothing, or you wouldn't have called me. What's the matter, Willie? Nothing is the matter. I was trying to be logical. You did, after all, place the call. I was merely trying to ascertain why. I can be pretty distant when I put my mind to it. You're hiding something. Nothing drives me crazier than when Helen does that. Because, see, with this horrible psychiatrist background of hers, she only accuses me of hiding things from her when I'm hiding things from her. Helen, I'm in the middle of a story conference now. Just get on with it. So there it was again. I'm lying to my wife about another woman, and the other woman knows it. Sandy Sterling in the next chair smiled dead into my eyes. Argosy doesn't have the book. Nobody has the book. Goodbye, Willie. She hung up. Wife again? I nodded, put the phone on the table by my lounge chair. You sure talk to each other a lot. I know. This murder trying to get any writing done. I guess she smiled. There was no way I could stop my heart from pounding. Chapter 1. the bride, my father said. I must have jerked around or something because she said, huh? My father, I began. I thought, I began. Nothing, I said finally. Easy, she said, and she gave me a really sweet smile. She dropped her hand over mine for just a second, very gentle and assuring. I wondered, was it possible she was understanding too? Gorgeous and understanding. Was that legal? Helen wasn't ever understanding. She was always saying she was. I understand why you're saying that, Willie. But secretly, she was ferreting out my neuroses. No, I guess she was understanding. What she wasn't was sympathetic. And of course, she wasn't gorgeous too. Skinny, yes. Brilliant, yeah. I met my wife in graduate school, I said to Sandy Sterling. She was getting her PhD. Sandy Sterling was having a little trouble with my train of thought. We were just kids. How old are you? Do you want my real age or my baseball age? That means the age I make up to tell other people. I really laughed then. Gorgeous and understanding and funny? Fencing, fighting, torture, my father said. Love, hate, revenge, giants, beasts of all miracles, beasts of all natures and descriptions, truth, passion, miracles. It was 12:35. I said, one phone call, okay? Okay. All right, before you get confused, the reason he's hearing his father's voice, what's he in the process of doing with Sandy?
Oh,
Flirting.
Flirting. What emotion is he feeling?
Guilt.
Because what did he promise he was going to do on his son's 10th birthday?
get him the princess bride.
Is he doing that?
No.
And so that's why the thing he promised he was going to do, he's choosing not to do, and he's choosing to do the flirty thing, and so that's the little subconscious, and he's hearing his father's voice, or like talking to him in the background. Yes, dear.
I thought it was because he was guilty because he wasn't telling his wife.
Well, he's got lots of reasons for having guilt. He likes to really stack on the poor choices. Why stick to just one? I mean, there's so many that are out there. It's like a smorgasbord of them. New York City information, I said in the receiver. And when I was through, I said, could you give me the names of some 4th Avenue bookshops, please? There must be 20 of them. 4th Avenue is the used and out-of-print book center of the English-speaking chapter of the civilized world. While the operator looked, I turned to the creature on the next lounge and said, my kid's 10 today. I'd kind of like for him to have this book from me. It's a present. It won't take a sec. Swing, Sandy Sterling said. I list one bookstore called the 4th Avenue Bookshop, the operator said, and she gave me the number. Can't you give me any of the others? They're all down there in a clump. If you will give me their names, I can help you, the operator said, speaking bell talk. Ugh, this one will do, I said, and I got the hotel operator to ring through for me. Listen, I'm calling from Los Angeles, I said, and I need The Princess Bride by S. Morgenstern. Nah, sorry, the guy said. And before I could say, well, could you give me the names of the other stores down there, he hung up. Give me that number back, please, I said to the hotel operator. And when the guy was on the line again, I said, this is your Los Angeles correspondent. Don't hang up so fast this time. I ain't got it, mister. I understand that. What I'd like is, since I'm in California, could you give me the names and numbers of some of the other stores down there? They might have it, and there aren't exactly an abundance of New York Yellow Pages drifting around out here. They don't help me. I don't help them. He hung up again. I sat with the receiver in my hand. What's this special book? Sandy Sterling asked. It's not important, I said, and hung up. And I said, yes it is, and picked up the receiver again. Eventually got my publishing house in New York, Harcourt Brace Jovanovich. And after a few more eventuallys, my editor's secretary read me off the names and numbers of every bookstore in the 4th Avenue area. Hunters, my father was saying now. Badmen, goodmen, beautiful ladies. He was camped in my cranium, hunched over, bald and squinting, trying to read, trying to please, trying to keep his son alive and the wolves away. It was 1:10 before I had the list completed and rang off from the secretary. Then I started with the bookstores. Listen, I'm calling from Los Angeles on the Morgenstern book, The Princess Bride, and sorry, busy signal. Not for years. Another busy 1:35. Sandy swimming, getting a little angry too. She must have thought I was putting her on. I wasn't, but it sure looked that way. Sorry, I had a copy in December. Yeah, no soap, sorry. This is a recorded announcement. The number you have dialed is not in working order. Please hang up and... Nope! Sandy really upset now, glaring Gathering debris. Who reads Morgenstern today? Sandy going, gorgeous. Gone. Bye, Sandy. Sorry, Sandy. Sorry, we're closing. It's 1:55 now, 4:55 in New York. Panic in Los Angeles. Busy. No answer. No answer. Florinese I got, I think. Somewhere in the back. I sat up in my lounge chair. His accent was thick. I need the English translation. You don't get much call from Morgenstern nowadays. I don't know anymore. When I got back in there. You come in and tomorrow you look around. I'm in California. Meshuggah, he said. It means just a great deal to me. If you look, you're going to hold on to while I do it. I'm not going to pay for this call. Take your time. He took 17 minutes. I just hung on, listening. Every so often I'd hear a footstep or a crash of books or a grunt. Ugh. Finally, hell, I got the Florinese like I thought. So close, but not the English. And suddenly he's yelling at me. What, are you crazy? I'm breaking my back. And he says, I haven't got it. Yes, I got it. I got it right here. Believe me, this is going to cost you a pretty penny. Great. Really, no kidding. Now, listen, here's what you do. Go get yourself a cab. Tell him to take the book straight up to Park. Mr. California Meshuggah, you listen now. It's coming up a blizzard, and I'm going no place, and neither of these books without money. $6.50 on the barrel each. You want the English? You got to take the Florinese, and I close at 6. These books don't leave my premises without $13 changing hands. Don't move, I said, hanging up, and who do you call when it's after hours and Christmas on the horizon? Only your lawyer. Charlie, I said when I got him. Please do me this. Go to 4th Avenue, Abramowitz's. Give him $13 for 2 books. Taxi up to my house. Tell the doorman to take them to my apartment. And yes, I know it's snowing. What do you say? That it's such a bizarre request, I have to agree to do it. I called Abramowitz yet again. My lawyer is hot on the trail. No checks, Abramowitz said. You're all heart. I hung up and started figuring. More or less 120 minutes long distance at $1.35 for the first 3 minutes, plus 13 for the books, plus probably 10 for Charlie's taxi, plus probably 60 for his time at Campton. 250 maybe. All for my Jason to have the Morgenstern. I leaned back and closed my eyes. 250. Not to mention 2 solid hours of torment and anguish. And let's not forget Sandy Sterling. It was a steal. They called me at 7:30. I was in my suite. He loves the bike, Alan said. He's practically out of control. Fabo. And your books came? What books? I said. Chevalier was never more casual. The Princess Bride, in various languages. One of them, fortunately, is English. Well, that's nice, I said, still loose. I practically forgot I asked to have them sent. How'd they get here? I called my editor's secretary and had her scrounge up a couple copies. Maybe they had them at Harcourt. Who knows? They did have copies at Harcourt. Can you buy that? I'll get to why in the next pages, probably. Give me the kid. Hi, he said a second later. Listen, Jason, we thought about giving you a bike for your birthday, but we decided against it. Boy, are you wrong. I got one already. Jason has inherited his mother's total lack of humor. I don't know, maybe he's funny and I'm not. We just don't laugh much together is all I can say for sure. My son Jason's this incredible looking kid. Paint him yellow, he'd mop up for the school's sumo team. A blimp, all the time, stuffing his face. I watch my weight, and old Helen's only visible full front, plus on top of which she's this leading child shrink in Manhattan, and our kid can roll faster than he can walk. He's expressing himself through food, Helen always says. His anxieties. When he feels ready to cope, he'll slim down. Hey, Jason, Mom tells me this book arrived today, the princess thing. I'd sure like if maybe you'd give it a read while I'm gone. I loved it when I was a kid, and I'm kind of interested in your reaction. Do I have to love it too? It was his mother's son, all right. And Jason, no, just the truth. Exactly what you think. I miss you, big shot. I'll talk to you on your birthday. Boy, are you wrong. Today is my birthday. We bantered a bit more, long past when there was much to say. Then I did the same with my spouse and hung up, promising a return by the end of 1 week. It took 2. Conferences dragged, producers got inspirations that had to get carefully shot down, directors needed their egos soothed. Anyway, I was longer than anticipated in sunny Cal. Finally, though, I was allowed to return to the care and safety of the family. So I quick buzzed to LA Airport before anybody's mind changed. I got there early, which I always do when I come back, because I had to load up my pockets with doodads and such for Jason. Every time I get home from a trip, he waddles, to me hollering, let me see the pockets. And then he goes through all my pockets, taking out his graft, and once the loot is totaled, he gives me a nice hug. Isn't it awful what we'll do to feel wanted? Let me see the pockets, Jason shouted, moving to me across the foyer. It was a supper time Thursday, and while he went through his ritual, Helen emerged from the library and kissed my cheek, going, what a dashing-looking fellow I have, which is also ritual. And, laden with gifts, Jason kind of hugged me and waddled off to his room. Angelica's just getting dinner on. You couldn't have timed it better. Angelica? Helen put her finger to her lips and whispered, it's her third day on, but I think she may be a treasure. I whispered back, what was wrong with the treasure we had when I left? She'd only been with us a week then. She proved a disappointment, Helen said. That was all. Helen's this brilliant lady. Junior Phi Beta in college, every academic honor conceivable, really an intellect of startling breadth and accomplishment, only she can't keep a maid. First, I guess she feels guilty having anybody, since most of the anybodies available nowadays are black or Spanish, and Helen is ultra super liberal. Second, she's so efficient, she scares them. She can do everything better than they can, and she knows it, and she knows they know it. Third, once she's got them panicked, she tries to explain, being an analyst, why they shouldn't be frightened. And after a good solid half-hour ego search with Helen, they're really frightened. Anyway, we've had an average of 4 treasures a year for the last few years. We've been running a bit of bad luck, but it'll change, I said, just as reassuringly as I knew how. I used to heckle her about the health problem, but I learned that was not necessarily wise. And Monday, we'll get a chance to finish out the final introduction and actually get into the book. Finally!
When do we get to take it home?
Monday.